What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday. You guys can tell I'm tired. So we got a couple stories. If you looked at the thumbnail, we got I put Connor on there. We're gonna talk a second about Connor. We got Sarra Hildebrandt, a few other people. I think we're mostly doing stories today, guys. A lot of stories, news, yada yada yada. Hope you guys having a great Thursday. I'm thinking about Saturday. Got my tournament. We just make sure we're good. Yep. What's up, guys? We good. We live, man. Happy to be alive and to be live. So we got a couple stories. Let's start off with Jason Nolf, your guys' favorite wrestler turned jiu-jitsu fighter. I wish he would go back to wrestling. He was doing good, man. He had a good run. I think he Kyle Dake's kind of moved out of his weight, so go back to wrestling, Jason Nolf. There ain't nothing in jiu-jitsu, man. Just go to wrestling. There might be a little bit of money in jiu-jitsu, but it ain't worth giving up on your wrestling career.
To get his feet off the ground.
What is the great challenge that maybe people don't realize that Kyle Dake presents?
I think it's just really his defense. I think that, but people understand that, but it's like hard to as a wrestler, you don't know until you actually wrestle him. It's such a different feel than anybody I've ever wrestled. I think that there's a lot of great wrestlers, but defensive wise, he's probably the greatest defensive wrestler. He does have some offense too, when he wants to, but
Sorry guys, got some new story just popped up. We'll go
I would
back
say
to
his main strength is his defense, and his chest lock is just super strong. I think that if what Zahid did to beat him, and what he needs to continue to do is when you attack, you get his foot off the mat. And that's how the Japanese guy beat him at the Olympics too. Shot low single, got his foot in the air, and if Dake's foot's in the air, he can't chest lock anymore. So he needs 2 feet planted on the ground. So I think that, just trying to wrestle him on and shoot double legs isn't really effective because, if you watch his matches with Burroughs going back, every time Burroughs would get double leg, he would start on a single leg, be doing good, and then he'd switch to a double leg, and then Dake would just go chest wrap and launch him for 4. And so you have to play that game. But the main goal, to beat Kyle Dake, you need to get his feet off the.
Okay, so that's Jason Nolf. He's flow wrestling, same thing. They asked Jason Nolf about the unique challenge that Kyle Dake presents to his opponents. Someone said, pretty sure I've seen Burroughs double Kyle off his feet. Yeah, maybe a couple times, but he been chest wrapped too, though. He had me up until he brought JB into this. Yeah, for sure he has, especially when they were younger. I was thinking about some positions from 2017 World Team Trial and 2021 Olympic Trials. This man is giving away his teammates' weakness. That is true. Weren't they teammates? Yo, my man Jason Nolf said, screw Kyle Dake. They were teammates, though. They are teammates at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club in Penn State. This man giving away his teammates' weaknesses, granted 99% can't do anything about it anyway. Everyone already knows what I'm saying. We didn't know that, Jason Nolf. No one can do anything about it, really. Zahid is very good. The beauty of this sport is how you do things, not what you do. Nolf is super intelligent. Sajulayev, the greatest defensive wrestler of all time. The medal count agrees. Hey, how's it going? Brilliant feedback. Dake is the absolute master of hand fighting and never allowing the opponent to get to their spot or be comfortable. He's so aware and understands dudes so well that he shuts them down the majority of offense before it ever gets going. Moving to Austin was a powerful move for him. He's been training with John Danaher, and it shows. So I'm hoping Jason Knopf can still wrestle. I hope he didn't go completely to the dark side, and he can't wrestle no more for whatever reason. I think he's gonna regret not wrestling more. He's not gonna regret the money from jiu-jitsu, but he's gonna regret not making world teams or making an Olympic team. Nolf is the man, honest and genuine. After watching Nolf dominate his senior year, I'll never forget how shocking it was when Dake absolutely destroyed him like a child. Was that the Olympic trials? I believe so. I think Chamizo wears that defensive crown. Chamizo's got really good defense too. If you guys see my video on Frank Chamizo, go check it out. So we got Final X. I need to see.
To beat Cal Dake, you need to get his.
There's been a lot of changes. Hope you have a good RAM with that many tabs. Yep, I'm good, bro. It must be your first time on my show, man. This ain't that many tabs for me. But yeah, Final X has been there's been a lot of different changes so far. Alora's not going to be fighting. Vito's not going to be fighting. A few other people won't be wrestling too, I think. Everybody, the people that I want to see are not wrestling, and people like Kyle Snyder, he gonna be there. So you guys know I'm gonna give Kyle Snyder a hard time when I get there. I'm definitely gonna be heckling in the crowd. UFC BJJ, we got a little video from these guys. Yeah, we'll see. What's the rules? It says road to the title. There's the following rule set. You got 3 5-minute rounds and 10-point must score system. So basically CJI. Basically they ripped off CJI completely. So thanks UFC BJJ. They got a coach's challenge. I don't know what that means, but let's see.
Armbar, Kimura, triangle, rear naked choke, footlock.
Music, heel hook, inside heel hook. Oh, so you just got to name submissions. We're not going to beat Mikey with that. He got the autism. Pinky lock, Mikey lock, middle finger lock. He making up stuff. Get out of here, Mikey. You know Mikey not playing fair. Crucifix armbar, body triangle. No arm triangle. TP choke. 23. You're not going to beat Mikey, bro. No way you're going to beat Mikey. No way you're going to beat Mikey, bro. Mikey didn't say Barada Plata. He got him there. Trica Plata, Barada Plata. Say it in Portuguese, bro. Say it in Portuguese, bro. he lost already. So shout out to these guys. I know you guys are going to be watching UFC BJJ. Hopefully it turns out okay. I just wish the person in charge was better. I'm not saying Dana White, I'm saying Claudia. I wish they had gotten someone better, more knowledgeable. Someone not on OnlyFans. That would have been helpful. Not that OnlyFans is bad, but maybe just a NBA person or something.
We're excited for the sport to keep growing like this. Dana, thank you for getting behind the sport and really pushing these guys. I'm excited to watch the new show, and make sure you guys tune in. What's up, guys? I just heard about UFC BJJ. I'm super excited for the sport to keep growing like this. Dana, thank you for getting behind the sport and really pushing these guys. I'm excited to watch the new show, and make sure you guys tune in.
Aljamain might be on the show, man. He's a pretty good wrestler. I think he wrestled and grapples,
Total line. Mauricio Rios.
That's some of the lineup. Some of these guys I kind of know of and heard of. Of course, Jason Knopf, Asari. They got some decent guys on there. Gianni, Kevon, that guy, Keith, Tackett. Yeah, they got some recognizable faces. Will the UFC screw them over? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they're gonna, blow it up, bro. We got some news over here. Let me pull it up later. I don't wanna get into it just yet. I just saw this morning. Kayla Harrison can't play it. It's got music, but look at Kayla Harrison, man. She doing it. Shout out to Kayla Harrison. She just won her first UFC title. She is the new double champ. Yeah, man. Her throws are so good. Man, Jesus. I need to work on my judo. I might be too old. I'm already broken from doing jiu-jitsu. I'm going to use that crash pad, guys. Get that crash pad ready for me. She got a nice double leg, Marotegari. And, of course, I don't know what that throw is called, where she goes cross step. That one's really good, too. I like that one. I like this one. It's not Harai. It's something else. But, man, shout out to Kayla, man. She doing it, man. She doing it, man. More music. Let's see. This is from Ethan. No, it's not Ethan. Someone else. But it says the strongest squad in the CJI lineup. So CJI is going to be pretty cool. We're going to see how the quintet works out. You got Ethan. You got Joseph Chen. You got Joseph. Joseph looking good too. Good grappling. Got what's the guy's name? Wojak. You got Nicky Rod, and you got the hired gun, Victor Hugo. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is gonna go. I think Team Matos might be up there too. Who's with the Tim Planet team? Is Aiken on the Tim Planet team? Super Aiken, what's up, Super Aiken? Anyway, it's gonna be good, man. I'm looking forward to CJI. I'm not the biggest fan of quintet, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, man. We'll see how it goes. I think Craig Jones Invitational 3, they're going back to the regular format, the tournament format. So hopefully they get the money back up and they do well. We got Muhammad Ali. If you guys know who Muhammad Ali, not the famous boxer, we got the famous jiu-jitsu fighter, Muhammad Ali. So he says next challenge should be on the Dana White what is that? What is that called again? Dana White Contender Series. Dana White doing too much. He got slap fight, he got the boxing, he got the UFC, he got the Dana White challenge or Contender Series. So next challenge should be on that show. It's time to challenge myself against the best. I've got a great team behind me, and I'm pretty sure we'll kill it. Couldn't be more excited. So he's been doing some. I think he did amateur boxing. He did some amateur MMA. So Muhammad Ali's looking really good. I believe he stopped competing a couple years ago. Not quite sure when, but he's kind of a renaissance dude. He be riding, he be mountain biking. He's been all over the place. So good luck to him. We'll see. He got the veins popping out. Dang, put those veins away, man. Put those veins away. You gotta pass USADA though. You know that, right, Muhammad Ali? Did they not tell you that? So we'll see what happens with homeboy. Cyborg is Cyborg the first one to comment. Lloyd Irvin says the plan is coming together nicely. Been a long time in the making. So I think he would have done really well. He could make more money doing CJI or he would actually make more money doing CJI and some other stuff, to be honest. But I don't think he likes Nogi that much outside. Well, he's fighting now. We got a nice reattack by Amit. So she has something medical going on, so she can't compete. So at least she can show us some techniques. So it looks like she's blocking from her. Hey, is that Sarah McMahon? So she's blocking the shot, and then she's reshooting right to the single leg. And she's sharing some details with us. So I wish she could compete, I mean, she got the Olympic medal. I guess that's all that matters, though. And I like how she's controlling the hand. With her left hand, she was controlling the hand, and then she's able to reshoot. So really nice little detail by me. You know, youngest American to win Olympic gold in wrestling. I mean, the young guys can't even make the Olympic team in wrestling over here, man. It's rough. Can't even make the Olympic team. You gotta beat Kyle Dake. You gotta beat Jordan Burroughs. You gotta fight all these dudes. That was her from the Olympics. You know, she was doing it, man. And people ask me why cover a meet. Well, she's dating your guys' favorite grappler. She's dating Mika Gabal. Yeah, she's dating Mika Gabal, so she's famous in jiu-jitsu too, guys. We got a new little update. We got Jason Rouse going to explain the new update.
Oh, I'm gonna show.
Oh, can't play that music. So they got a new tool. It's used to track your heart rate. I'm not sponsored by these guys, and it's in the form of a mouthpiece. So Tiana with the Apple Watch on, go ahead and try this new technology. It says tracking heart rate is very popular in jiu-jitsu right now. Orb Sport does that and a lot more, while also functioning as an important piece of training equipment. So let's check this out. I'm not sponsored by them. Why are they always subscription based? You need a subscription. That does kind of suck. You got to jailbreak that thing, bro. I just want to see my heart rate without paying every year for it. That does suck. I'm tired of subscriptions as well. They won't make any money then. Just make it expensive. Don't lock people into deals. I get it, but you have to understand why they do it. Remember that DNA testing company that went bankrupt? Same issue. People buy your things, but eventually you run out of people that are interested. So you stay afloat and make a profit by having a subscription-based model. It's absolutely insane, but look at Netflix and Spotify. Well, just because that model is working right now doesn't mean, in the future, people might cancel all their subscriptions. That might be the future of all these subscription services, They're like, screw it. I don't need that. The only thing I need is YouTube Premium, so I don't have to look at no ads. Hopefully you guys got something to not have to watch the ads. Although that's how a lot of YouTubers make money, from the ads. Someone says, we hear you. Our app is always evolving, and our dev team is constantly refining the data to make it as accurate as possible. Hence, the need for a subscription fee. That ain't true, because we didn't have subscriptions back in the day. That ain't true. Now, products would have been more expensive. Think about Adobe. The products were pretty expensive, but once you bought the item, that was it. Maybe you had to pay for updates. I kind of preferred that. I wish I could buy the software, and then, if I need to update, I can pay for it. If I don't want to update, I don't need to pay for it. Jason says it's $69 for the year. Pretty reasonable if you ask me. Jason, he has to say that. He's sponsored by them. He's got to say that. I don't know. $69 is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. $70, that is a lot of money. Plus, you gotta buy the product. How much is the product? If the product $200, and then $70 added on there, $270. Shoot, that could have been your grocery money. Imagine you can't afford groceries, but you can track your heart rate. I can track my heart rate, but I'm dying because I can't afford food. So yeah, pretty wild. This new Mouthguard, shout out to Tex. This new Mouthguard that's supposed to regulate your heartbeat and tell you everything while you're rolling. Honestly, it feels like another one of those subscription-based solutions that became popular just because it generates passive income for people. At the end of the day, it's just another scam. Text. I don't see how constantly monitoring my heart rate from a Mouthguard is going to genuinely help me win or improve in a way that justifies its continuous payment. It feels like a lot of these wearables are just overhyped data streams rather than truly essential tools. It can be, I don't know if it's essential, but it can be a useful tool, especially for us jiu-jitsu fighters, jiu-jitsu grapplers. We be overtraining, so if we can see our heart rate's too high, we can tell like, oh, we're not recovering. You can see what zone you're training in, maybe calories burned, etc. Said he burned about 300 calories in 30 minutes. 100 calories an hour, that's not too good. It's just a mock-up, I'm assuming. So it can be useful maybe maybe not regular people, but, maybe the high-end people, people in UFC, BJJ, the people doing CGI, the people doing ADCC, they might need to know that. So let's check it out real fast. My show, we do research. We go, hey, what's going on? Oh, it's called Orb Sport. Let's check that out. Other people, actually, nobody has a show. Are there any more jiu-jitsu shows like mine? There's some podcasts. You got like the Simple Man podcast, but nobody. I don't think anybody's got a show like me. On the daily though, I think I got everybody beat. Let's get it over here. Orb Sport. All right, let's go through this a little quickly and see if it's worth the technology. I'm surprised Nike or somebody didn't get in on this. Let's see. It says track your heart rate. The first fitness tracking mouth guard. Yeah, I guess there's some technology in that mouth guard. Custom fit, insight driven, smart mouth guard built to move with you. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's us. It says heart rate data helps identify the specific training zones you're working in. For example, if your heart rate is high in early rounds, it may indicate poor pacing or lack of aerobic base. Sustained spikes in heart rate with slow recovery between rounds may indicate you are fatigued or overtrained. We need that. I don't know what that was. Movement intensity. High movement intensity can reflect offensive pressure or evasive effort. You and your coach can view intensity spikes during exchanges and decide whether you are pacing yourself effectively or burning out early. You and your coach can view the strike location, left or right, and frequency interpret defensive weaknesses or overexposed stances. Oh, that's pretty cool. This thing doing a lot. Workload data can highlight whether you are overtrained or undertrained. So this is more so for, the high level athletes. Not really useful for the layman, the hobbyist. So I think the market, I'm already seeing that the market's kind of not looking the best. So I don't see why a regular dude, a regular white belt would need this. Of course their heart rate's all over the place. They just started. Unless they're into metrics, health metrics. I'm struggling to see who this is for. It's for you never market to MMA fighters and jiu-jitsu grapplers, competitors. They didn't got no money. Why are you marketing to these people? Now is the idea cool? It's amazing, but how is this useful for new people? White belts, blue belts. Train twice a week. Once or twice a week, maybe 3 times tops. How is this helpful? So I'm just seeing who they're marketing to. Maybe with the subscription model, they don't need to market to the hobbyist people, but they need to get Joe Rogan on this. If Joe Rogan supports this, if Jocko supports this, people will buy it. And you got to charge the thing. You got to keep the thing clean and you got to charge it. I got to do 2 things at once. That's a lot, man. How much is this thing? Maybe if they get on the student athletes, that might work. I just know jiu-jitsu competitors ain't got no money. MMA fighters ain't got no money. So they gotta change the marketing angle somehow for more health benefits. I'm gonna let you know, most people ain't overtraining, they undertraining. So you get some metrics here. I guess you can see your heart rate, the duration, workload, calories burned. That might be kind of useful for, competitors, but regular people don't care about their calories burned. Trying to see. You can check your distance too. That's pretty wild. Let's see. Can we order this? Oh, 340, 349, 350, guys. What's that? 350 plus 6. What's that? 350 plus 70. Do the quick math. Plus 70. That's $420 just to get you up and rolling. $420 get you up and rolling, and let's see, 70 times 12. That's about 8. It's $70 a year. Okay, it's not bad. $420 to get yourself up and running. Can we watch the video? Ain't got no sound. It's just that's what it looks like. Again, I'm not sponsored by these guys. I'm just interested in the technology. All right, don't look too bad. You got to charge that thing up and keep it clean, though. And if you lose that thing, that's another thing. Can you track it? You know how many times people leave their mouthpieces on the floor, up on the wall? So I like the technology. It's got about 3.5 hours battery life. It takes about 45 minutes to charge to 0.5% or 50%. Bluetooth. So it's kind of cool. I mean, if you guys get it, I mean, if you guys want to buy it for me, I'll try it, but I ain't gonna buy that with my money. When I want to check my heart rate, here's what I do. That's free. That's free right there. Count the fifth. Watch for 15 seconds. Multiply it times 4. Is it 3 or 4? I think you multiply by 4. Let's check the free version. That's me right there. I'll do the free version, guys. Don't they know we're in a recession right now? We gotta do the free version. Check your heart rate. Find your pulse in your wrist or neck and count the number of beats per minute. You can use a device, a fitness tracker. I ain't doing that. Here you go. You find your pulse in your wrists or on your neck, your artery, radial artery, or carotid artery. Count the beats. Place 2 fingers on the artery and count the number of beats you feel for 15 seconds. Multiply by 4. There you go. We're good. All right, guys. I'm going to suggest you guys do the free version. Unless you got the $400 for the mouthpiece, I say check the free version. You do that before you start training, during your training, and after your training. There you go. You got some metrics. You don't need all this technology, guys. You could sit there and do some math on your phone. You can figure it out. So we talked a little bit about Amit. Wasn't she here? She was right here. That's Amit. Unfortunately, she will not be competing at Final X. So her opponent, Alex here, I think she got the bye. So she should be doing the world teams. Or she's joining the world team. And let's see, I'll move out so you guys can see. So Alex says she's committed to my mission regardless of what is put in front of me. Just wanted to take a moment to update you all. My Final X opponent is unfortunately facing very real health concerns and will not be able to compete this Saturday. As much as I looked forward to great competition, health comes first. I commend you, Amit, for prioritizing your health. I know this decision was not made lightly. I am praying for you and that you are back to health soon. I will weigh in this Saturday to officially secure the world team spot. Represent Team USA at World Championships in September. At this time, nothing changes. I will continue working towards becoming the woman God has called me to be. I am extremely grateful for this opportunity and will continue striving to glorify God in all that I do. Thank you for your continued support. So, my wrestlers are very religious, which I do like. I don't mind. You can have your religion, guys. I got to call Kyle Snyder out. He should have been reading the Bible. Same goal, different path. Rooting for you, cheering you on. God bless this journey. You are a true champion. So Final X, people ask me why I cover wrestling, but it's very similar to jiu-jitsu. Kind of similar people, got a lot of crossover. Look at, you got Gable Stevenson having a match with Craig Jones. You had Kirk Liggett, had a match at CJI. Jason Nolf, he's doing jiu-jitsu now. So there's a lot of wrestlers that are going to cross over. And there's a lot of jiu-jitsu people that want to learn wrestling. So I'm trying to build that bridge. I would like to build that bridge with judo, but judo's a little bit different. They a little special. I like my judo people, but they a little different. We got another wrestler. I like the wrestling people too, man. I like the wrestling, I like the wrestlers. Sarra Hildebrandt, she says, at 11 years old, I was blissfully unaware of where this path would lead. I was just a kid drawn to the pure joy of wrestling. So, if you guys don't know, she won Olympic gold medal. Did we expect her to win an Olympic gold medal? No, but she went out there and did it. So she got some Rudis gear coming out. That's her beating the boys. She got she got her own shoe coming out. As far as I know, she's the first female to have their own wrestling shoe. We got more wrestling news, but let's look at her shoe first. So you guys know I like Rudis, one of my favorite brands, of course. I'm sponsored by Inverted Gear. Check out Inverted Gear, guys. They got some great apparel too. But I can check out Inverted Gear doesn't have wrestling shoes, so I can check out Rudis wrestling shoes. So this is Sarra, our first women's wrestling shoe. So she's definitely the first for Rudis. So it's coming soon. She got her new shoe coming out. Hey JB, what's up, bro? Changing the sport. Our first women's wrestling shoe. Rudis is proud to introduce the first wrestling shoe specifically made for women, created in close collaboration with Olympic medalist and Olympic gold medalist. And didn't she win gold? I believe she did win gold. And world-class athlete Sarra Hildebrandt. I think I said that wrong. Crafted with intention, every element from the silhouette to the sole was engineered to support the way women wrestle with strength, agility, and grit. Built for support, fit, and flexibility. I'm not sponsored by these guys. I'm just reading, just a fan. It locks in where it matters, moves with your body, and empowers you to take the mat with confidence. So there's been a 102% increase in female high school wrestlers in the last 2 years. There's 4 times more girls wrestling teams than a decade ago. There's 47 states now offer an official high school wrestling championship for girls compared to 6 in 2018. That's amazing. In 2025, the NCAA officially recognizes women wrestling as a journey as of January, and a journey. So the ladies, they do freestyle. So be on the lookout because the ladies, they're competing better than the dudes right now. Last Olympics, the ladies had 2 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze, I believe. Men's had 1 silver and 2 bronzes. So I think the girls pulled through. This is a new chapter where one where women are not just welcomed into wrestling, they're leading it. It's true. The ladies led the Team USA last year at the Olympics. Sarra Hildebrandt. She's transformed the sport with every step of her career, from standing on Olympic podiums to shaping product design. She continues to define the future of wrestling. So, Olympic gold medalist last year, man. You win Olympic gold, you deserve your shoe. It says most wrestling shoes are adapted from men's models, but female athletes deserve a more curated fit. And Rudis built a wrestling shoe specifically for the female foot, taking into account key anatomical differences such as narrower heel and higher instep. So I like Rudis because they do these like really close up shots, so you can see like the material, you can see the stitching. Basically, you can see that's what the shoe looks like. That's almost like exactly the size of the shoe right there. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what this means right here. Can they explain that? I thought it said sit or sill. I don't really understand what it means. What's different? While the core performance features such a grip, flexibility, and ankle support remain consistent across both. So that looks amazing. You know, you don't want your wrestling shoes slipping, and you need support. So pretty cool. Sarra Hildebrandt, that's nice. Got some different colorways. Can the dudes wear the shoe too? We want a shoe for the dudes. We want the girls' shoe for the dudes too. Not that I'm cross-dressing or anything. I want her shoe for men. I can't wear the Kyle Snyders no more. I can't wear the Kyle Snyders. So really great, man. You know, we try to support everybody in this show. Speaking of ladies, we got Helina. She's showing off her medals. She got a lot of medals. Polaris says Helina has an unbelievable medal and belt collection. Helina captures Team North America this June. She captains Team North America this June 28th at our first ever women's squads event. So that's like next week or something. I believe they're going to be facing off with Fion. Is that true? So that's her with her belts and medals.
My dad decided to.
Can't play the music, but look at her medals. Her medal case looks better than Gordon Ryan's. She already got 3 Polaris belts. How many medals she got? She got every medal. I ain't got that many medals. And she got her day and her knife. Don't stab nobody, Helina. She said she's gonna win Black Belt Worlds, so we'll see. Watch out with that knife. That's a real knife too, guys. Watch out for that. So yeah, she's still living at home, guys. So, so we got Fion versus Helina. Can Fion? Oh, does the UFC contract only works in the UFC? So Fion can still wrestle. She can still grapple with Polaris. So I guess she doesn't have an exclusive contract, or maybe it's just for like in Europe she has to do Polaris, and in America she has to do UFC. I'm not sure how it works internationally because Fion lives in Europe, so I guess I don't know how they enforce any rules on her. And this says the greatest grappler in European history returns to Polaris for the final time as Fion. Oh, that's her last time? I guess maybe that UFC contract kicked in. So she returns to Polaris for the final time as Fion Davies captains a squad of Europe's most elite submission artists. Facing off against the European squad is a stacked North American squad captained by Polaris lightweight champion Helina. Davies and Fion and Helina are at the pinnacle of the grappling world, and they are eager to lead their teams to battle in what will be a historic night for submission grappling. So I might have to tune into that. Oh, it's on UFC Fight Pass, so that's why Fion could do it. I don't want to buy Fight Pass. I know you can do like a month. I don't want to buy it though. We got some controversy. Penn State wrestling star accused of theft and misconduct. So we don't know. Oh, another. Wait a second. Who? Which Penn State? Penn State people stay in trouble. You had what was that kid? Braden Davis or something. He got in trouble. Kyle Snyder in trouble. What's going on at Penn State, man? Penn State, what's going on? Penn State wrestling finds itself in the spotlight, but not for the reasons its storied program prefers. Allegations of misconduct have surfaced involving its legendary star Carter Starachi. No, Carter, I told you not to talk no smack, bro. I told you, Carter. I told you not to say nothing. Carter. Oh no, they got my boy Carter. Carter looked like a troublemaker too. He was talking too much smack. Man, he should have shut up, bro. If you guys listen to this live stream, I tell Carter to shut up all the time. And look, they got my boy. Oh man, Carter, no. If you guys don't know Carter Starachi, he liked to talk a little bit of stuff. Is he from Jersey? Nah, he's from like Ohio or somewhere. Oh man, Carter, no. What's going on with Penn State? If you guys don't know Carter, he's the first 5-time NCAA wrestling champion. They let this man wrestle 5 years straight. Oh no. Pat Mineo, I never say his last name right, guys. I'm sorry. From the wrestling room, stirred the conversation by posting on social media that Starachi is under investigation for reportedly stealing from other PSU's teammates. With palpable skepticism, Mineo, I never say his name right, guys. I'm sorry. With palpable skepticism, can't read, I'm tired. Noted, which sounds really odd if it's true because he's the highest paid wrestling athlete. He makes more money than everybody over there, at least in the collegiate program. Why would he need to steal? The waves of these allegations reached Skid Bartlett, whose husband Bo Bartlett is married? Whose husband Bo Bartlett was a former teammate of Starachi. Reacting to Mineo's post, she confirmed the investigation and added depth to the allegations, detailing inappropriate conduct involving Starachi and his teammates. These wrestlers get married early. I do not care how talented an individual is. If they are causing discomfort of any degree, action should be taken. Not when it came to Snyder. End of story, she declared emphatically. Bo Bartlett himself chimed in through a message board on Happy Valley Insider with words painted in a cryptic yet telling manner. Any one person does not make an entire program, he wrote, hinting at the broader impact of the issues he's personally faced. His words hinted at a culture of silence, noting the hesitation and fear that linger around shattering experiences, particularly those of his teammates and their accounts involving the individual in question. Though Bartlett refrained from directly naming Starachi, his words suggest a deeper narrative waiting to be unveiled. The multifaceted nature of the allegations adds another layer of intrigue to this unfolding story within the Penn State camp. They got too much drama over there. Kale, what is Coach Kale doing? So this is, when you only care about how good somebody's wrestling is, you don't care about their character. This is what happens, allegedly. As the narrative evolves, fans and followers are left piecing together the puzzle, anticipating official updates. In the wrestling world, Starachi's name resonated powerfully with success. He concluded his college wrestling journey at Penn State by clinching his 5th national championship this March, a feat unmatched in Division I history. However, with this current storm, the focus has shifted dramatically, challenging both the program's integrity and legacies involved. This situation is developing, and the sporting community watches closely as further details emerge. Nittany Sports now is poised to provide updates, uncovering the full story as it unfolds. That's not good. Let's do some research. Yo, homeboy was saying I got a lot of tabs open, but listen, the news is changing. I got to update you guys on the jiu-jitsu and wrestling news. And sometimes judo news when it happens. Come on, where are you? So if you guys don't know, Storaci, he got one of the biggest NIL deals out of Penn State. And it says Penn State wrestling star Storaci suggests $1.3 million he's rumored to earn in NIL money, well below reality. So maybe a little bit less than what we're thinking. I mean, that's still some good money. Let's read and see what it's got to say. As the best college wrestler on the planet, it's unsurprising that Penn State wrestling star Carter Storaci is probably making big bucks in NIL money, name, image, and likeness. However, the four-time champion recently suggested he may make even more than some recent estimates. We don't know if he's telling the truth. He might be lying. Penn State wrestling is the cream of the NCAA crop. The school has won 3 of the last 4 college wrestling championships, and 174-pound star Carter Storaci has played a huge role in that success. The 23-year-old has won 4 straight individual championships and is planning to go for a record 5th this season. For players like him, the benefits of new NCAA name, image, and likeness guidelines are massive. While there are quite a few collegiate football and basketball players making millions in NIL deals, Storaci is one of the outliers on the wrestling side of college athletics. And earlier this week, a little-known X account claimed to know how much he is earning in 2024 and 2025. Carter Storaci record career 93-4. That's amazing. Says in a post this week, Pursuit Wrestling Ohio claimed Carter Storaci would make $1.3 million from NIL deals this upcoming season. Later that day, the post made its way to Penn State wrestling star, and he had an interesting response in a repost of the story. "Don't speak about my pockets. Y'all don't know half of it," Storaci wrote. That wink and the money bag emoji sure seem to suggest that an estimate of $1.3 million is below what he will actually rake in next season. If the Nittany Lions star can win a 5th individual title, he will be the first NCAA Division I in history to do so. So he's got money, but sometimes stealing isn't about money. It's not always about money. Allegations? Yo, we do research on this channel, guys. We do research on this channel. Now, is everybody going to like the research? No, but it's okay. Is there a post on this? I ain't got TikTok. I got music on it, guys. I can't play it. Someone says, I'm actually surprised no one's talked about this here since it's Reddit, but TikTok and Twitter have all talked about it. Referred to this video for more context. Turns out Carter is a huge, what's a good term for this? He's, he's a jerk. He's a jerk. There we go. And is under investigation for stealing, even though he's the highest paid NCAA athlete for wrestling. So something seems off, but I heard he violates other wrestlers in I don't know what ways, but the way it's being referred to sounds weird. Anyways, if anyone has any thoughts or opinions, let me know. It sounds like hazing or something, which I'm not for at all. Can anyone elaborate? I don't have TikTok or X. I'm not about to start. Seconded. This is kind of confirmed by Bo Bartlett. Made a long post on the PSU forums with vague accusations. Disgusting take. Ignore the guy. This is literally how any breaking story starts. I don't see how there is a misconnect here. We don't know the extent, but something did happen, and more details will arise whenever they are coming out. It's not something to just pretend isn't happening. That's extremely dishonest. It says reporters are paid to chase these things down. Nothing here is useless. A red flare is up because it's not nothing. It's something, and we will see just how much of something it is. So it seems like we don't know what's going on just yet, but I'll keep you guys posted. Says, well, it seems like there's been multiple complaints through proper channels, and a few people don't feel like they're being addressed. If there's a purpose to any of this, then my guess it would be to light a fire under the AD to get it addressed. Let's see. So I'll keep you guys updated. So far, nothing I can see. Yeah. So we'll keep you guys updated. So far, nothing that I know of. So we got Andy Miasaki. Let's talk about some jiu-jitsu. That's why you guys usually jump on this live stream. He made a post. I don't know if we can translate it here. Let's see. Will it translate? I did translate. So, it's never too accurate, guys. So Miasaki, we watched his match, I believe, how he lost it. Completely strategy. He was winning. Andy Miasaki was winning, made a mistake, ended up costing him the match. He was reaping too. He was reaping the whole tournament. Andy, you're reaping, bro. It says in the first video, even without intention, I ended up crossing my leg a little and I get a punishment, which is right according to the rules. But the opponent sharply fakes an injury. Maybe his knee got jacked up, bro. Fakes an injury to try to induce a downgrade of his opponent. Hey, listen, it's jiu-jitsu, bro. You guys both Brazilian. You know what's up, bro. Come on. Why are you complaining? The match already over. Nobody cares no more. Why are you complaining? I lose. I move on my day. I ain't going to make a post about it. I ain't going to cry about it. If I lose unjustly, well, shoot. I should have won better. There should have been no doubt that I won that match. So that's the hard thing when you're competing. So the other videos are from my semifinal World Cup in 2024. Same thing happened to me 3 times in a row. And understanding that my opponent could be disqualified for just crossing his leg, I insisted the referee not to disqualify him and let the match happen, let the fight happen. But unfortunately, the referee ended up disclassing because he had to follow the rules. What made me sad because we're there fighting to see who's the best in the world. Why do you care about this, Andy? That's not why you lost it. That's not why you lost. You lost because you pulled guard on a downed opponent. So yeah, guys, if you lose, don't make no posts. You lose, just let it go, man. No, nobody cares anymore. Talking about tournaments, we got Flow Grappling schedule. So June 13th, you got Who's Number One. I believe is that today? Oh no, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. June 14th, you got ADCC Dallas Open. June 14th, you also got Fight to Win 283. You got finishers, and you got Kids Brasileiros. You got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Next week, you got all the Fight Pass stuff with Fion and in Europe. They're 6 hours ahead if you're on the East Coast, so you might have to catch that earlier or something. So a lot of good jiu-jitsu stuff going on. It's kind of overwhelming, to be honest. So if you guys clicked on the thumbnail, we had Conor McGregor on there. I didn't put Craig Jones on there today. Maybe I should have. You guys love Craig Jones. You guys click on everything. Anything with Craig Jones, people click on it. But it's important that we put other people on the video, on the thumbnail, just for me, so I can, don't put the same people up. So Craig Jones on the harsh financial reality for UFC fighters. There's only one Conor McGregor. There's only one dude making hundreds of millions of dollars. And arguably, I don't think there's been another UFC fighter that's done something like that. If you guys know somebody, let me know. Craig Jones has offered a sombering perspective on the financial expectations many MMA fighters carry, warning that the dream of becoming the next Conor McGregor is far from reality. Let's be honest, guys. Conor was a good fighter. He was a great fighter, actually. And he's a great marketer. He's a great showman. So unless you can do all three of those things, you're not going to be able to follow Conor. Most people, most people might have one thing, maybe two things. They don't have all three. So you need to be great at fighting. Khabib's a great fighter, but he wasn't a great showman. So Conor was a great showman as well as a great fighter, and then great at marketing. So I would say Khabib wasn't great at marketing. So you need to have those three facets to be like super, super popping in the UFC. I think Israel was kind of similar. He's great at fighting, great showman, and he's good at marketing. He's very marketable fighter. John Jones could have been that way, but he just was, I don't know. He just made a lot of mistakes. My man was infamous. Maybe you could say, what was the big guy? He did WWE. I can't remember his name right now. Yeah, there's been a couple fighters that were like that, but few and far between. He says, I would say that most of the time when people move to the UFC, they're thinking about their own bank accounts, more or less, even if that is based on correct or incorrect information, or if they're understanding about how combat sports work as a whole. He says the sad realization is everyone thinks they're going to be Conor McGregor. They're going to make Conor McGregor money. They're going to get Conor McGregor stardom. Nope. But there's only one Conor McGregor. And even Conor, Dana White still kind of control Conor a little bit, or tries to. The stars of the UFC is tough out there. MMA as a whole is not a very high-paying sport. The percentage of people that are making some money in the UFC has to be pretty small. I mean, the UFC only pays 20% of its revenue to its fighters. So 80% is going to the shareholders and operation costs and Dana White. And then the fighters out there killing themselves. They got CTE and brain damage. Can't retire. Look at Paige Van Zandt. She actually was a decent fighter. But then she ended up doing slap fight. Almost paralyzed herself. Jones's comments reflect a common issue faced by many up-and-coming fighters. While the UFC offers unparalleled exposure and prestige, it doesn't guarantee wealth. If anything, UFC doesn't want you to be wealthy. The UFC doesn't want you to be a star, and the UFC doesn't want you to be wealthy because they can't control those people. Look at Francis Ngannou. UFC couldn't control Francis. They tried everything to do that. If you're broke and you have to fight for a living, and you're barely scraping by, you're gonna do whatever the UFC tells you to do. You're gonna toe the line. But once you get some money or you gain enough fame, you don't need the UFC. Which is how every fighter should be approaching joining the UFC, to be honest. For most of the roster, even those competing on high-profile cards, the financial struggles remain a very real part of the journey. I mean, when Dana White, the CEO of the UFC, can spend your whole paycheck, your whole fight purse, gambling in one day, I mean, what kind of message does that send to the fighters? to me, it sends the message that you're not important. He can waste the money that you killed yourself to make just gambling in one night. We got Fion. She reveals her UFC BJJ contract actually allows CJI to exemption. That's cool. I think we read this already. We did read this already. Anyway, that's cool. That's cool to know. She can do whatever she wants until the UFC tells her she can't. We're gonna go to Reddit for a little bit. I'm a little tired today, guys. I gotta get ready for a tournament this weekend, so I'm not gonna push too hard on the live stream. But I'm the most consistent I've ever been with this live stream Monday through Friday. So we got a quick post. We read this earlier. Terrible post, actually. It says, my jiu-jitsu coach has a crush on me. Help. So we're gonna read the update. Jiu-jitsu coaches, higher belts, don't hit on the students. Don't date your students. Don't date at your gym. This is your public service announcement from Mr. Alec here. Reporter Alec. It just doesn't work. So the first time he apologized, he said that he was drunk, and now after he got fired, he texted me these texts, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm a horrible person and I'm literally destroying someone's life. Well, he destroyed his own life. But the reason why I reported him is not just the text, it's because he really did say a lot of stuff that made me feel uncomfortable, such as calling my legs thick, saying that I'm a 10 out of 10. Oh, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. And grabbed me in a way that made me feel super uncomfortable, etc. I need to know how others will think about this situation because I'm really stuck. My head is going crazy. The text was just 2 days ago after he got fired and banned from the gym. So, some of you guys were defending J-Rod. Some of you guys are defending Jacob Couch. The Jacobs were taking an L this year. But you got to remember, when these guys make the gym feel uncomfortable, they make people feel uncomfortable. Certain people feel uncomfortable. It affects the vibe. So it's not good for business, and it shouldn't be allowed. If you see any situations like this, please bring it to the attention of the coach. And if it is the coach doing it, bring it to the attention of other higher belts, other persons in the gym. Worst case, you gotta let the authorities know, man. I don't know what else to say. If the coach is doing all the dirt, you gotta don't sweep it under the rug. You gotta let it be known. So she had some posts. Oh, this guy's crazy. Dude said, I got fired over a stupid text. Help me, bro. Well, training got me out of mine. I don't know what that means. Training got you out of your depression. Why is he messaging this girl? Oh, this guy needed to get fired. He looked like he going crazy. I'm about to lose everything over a stupid text. I told you it was stupid and I didn't mean it. Well, you sent the text, bro. So for the record, this girl's like 15 or 16, and the jiu-jitsu coach was hitting on her basically. And then she told whoever's in charge of the gym. She told whoever is in charge of the gym, and then this guy got fired. So it looks like this guy should have been fired. Why did you hire this dude? Why did you hire this guy? He says, I mean, you told me you take 4 to 5 meds, and I'm sure that when you don't, you're not yourself. I wasn't myself that day. I said immediately, my bad. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have instructors that are, being medicated legally. It don't sound like this dude should have been teaching. So if I read the original post, it's kind of quick. It says, my jiu-jitsu coach has a crush on me. Help. He has a wife, and his wife is pregnant around 5 months. He is 30 years old, and I am 17 years old. Case closed. Fire that dude. I will fire that dude before anything bad happened. Yeah, that's a super liability. You 30 years old, you shouldn't be talking to no 17-year-old, no way. You too old, bro. Get out of there. Fire that man. Get him out that gym. He's lucky he just got fired. It could have been worse. Could be worse for him and that girl. Get him away from that girl. Why is he messaging that girl? Bro. You didn't ruin his life. He made choices to behave inappropriately. His choices have consequences. He's an adult. You acted bravely by speaking up, and your actions protected future students from dealing with predatory behavior. We're seeing this stuff, predatory behavior, not flying no more. They don't care if you're Carter Starachi. They don't care if you're a black belt coach. Any of this behavior, it ain't flying no more, man. You guys got to update yourself. Maybe you could have got away with this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. This 2025, guys, don't try this stuff no more. It ain't working. They're going to have you on camera. They're going to have you on Reddit. And then I might have to do a story on you. I mean, God forbid they get me. I'm not going to wood. I try to be good. You guys do a story on me if they get me, guys, if I did something. He made choices to behave inappropriately. His choices have consequences. He's an adult. You acted bravely by speaking up, and your actions protected future students from dealing with predatory behavior. Yep. If it wasn't her, he would have tried this with some other girl. There's certainly some validity to this. I was off my meds, but if that's going to be the case, then it's your responsibility not to be off your meds. He's 30 years old. He need to take his medication. He shouldn't be teaching if he's on that medication. Says, I'm for sure don't get caught being an AI pervert. Yeah, I'm trying not to. They got the good AI now. Have you seen those AI videos, bro? They don't look real, but they're getting better. Says, nah, she is underage. Meds have nothing to do with it. Also, if you read the text body, it wasn't just the text from him that made her uncomfortable. There were other things, including how he touched her. No meds doesn't mean you are a creep. Good job for speaking up. People like that, drunk, high, whatever, shouldn't be teaching a sport like BJJ or any sport. Kudos to you and keep training. Well, the issue with our sport and wrestling and judo, high-level people get treated differently. They get slap on the wrist. They get treated like Kyle Snyder. He had his singlet down. Nothing. No repercussions. Save screenshots of all his attempted communications, restraining order, and telling your parents is likely a smart move at this point. Yeah, she needs to tell her parents and get that restraining order. Block him on all social media. It's a common tactic of these types to shift the blame from themselves to others. Don't feel bad. Listen to this. You are most likely going to be needing a restraining order. This person is obviously mentally unstable and a wild card. Please protect yourself. Why was he hired to coach? Exactly this. Document everything. Have your parents set up a therapist too. You've done nothing wrong here, buddy. In addition to the block, maybe putting the social media on private for now too. Says he was a 30-year-old creeping on one of his teen students. He ruined his own life. I've been drinking and taking drugs for years. Oh, shouldn't be posting that. And that stuff doesn't make me a predator. That stuff is either in you or it isn't. Being intoxicated doesn't change that. Well, I don't know what medications he was on. He might have been on some real stuff. Says, honestly, he dodged a bullet. If she went straight to the police, they would have got him in for at least being a registered. Yeah. Maybe not that bad, but he might need to be on some list. I'm just happy they caught it early, All it takes is one person, one event, one scenario to make the whole thing go bad. Restraining order and involving the adults. This is even more inappropriate, and they should not be contacting you at all. He ruined his own life. Don't feel guilty for doing what is right. This guy needs to be reported. This is totally unacceptable behavior, and if he does have issues and drinks/takes meds, maybe he shouldn't be allowed to work with underage people, period. He is doing this to himself. He shouldn't be allowed to contact OP at all. This guy's a predator. Totally unacceptable behavior from an adult instructor / coach. You need to block him and separate yourself from this person. If he continues to harass you, you need to contact the authorities. Seriously. Yeah, she needs to do that a while ago. Seriously, I've been training for many years and left a school that I loved and all my friends due to this type of predatory behavior and I can't say that word, and bad behavior if we are being honest. I take meds for mental health, bipolar, and so do a lot of people. Never proposition a child when I miss one. He is a jerk and he's a jerk. You did the responsible thing. If he's doing this to you, who knows how many people he might be doing it to as well. The fact he can't even take responsibility for his own actions now is still trying to involve you just shows how irresponsible he is. He's the grown adult here. He shouldn't have put you in this position to begin with, and he's completely responsible for what happens to him. Yeah, I mean, pretty cut and dry. This guy is a creeper. He's a predator. He's messaging this girl. He's completely wrong. I'm not gonna defend him. We've got another story. I'm tired. We're gonna skim through unless I really want to say something. Talking about child predators, dang. Jiu-Jitsu, what's going on, Jiu-Jitsu? How is Hermes Franca still teaching children? He's still teaching, coaching children? Dang. Let's read the article first, and then we'll go back to the Reddit. Man, this is a hard job out here, man. We got too many creeps out here, man. Too many predators out here. UFC vet Hermes Franca talks teaching jiu-jitsu after being convicted of SA of a minor under 14 in 2012. God dog, he shouldn't be around no kids. Parents, please do your research on the coaches. Do a little Google search, please, before you let your kids start training. Former UFC lightweight title challenger and WC champion Hermes Franca. I used to be a fan of his. I mean, not anymore. He has spoken candidly about his life journey, including his struggles with drinking following his conviction in 2012. In a revealing interview on MMA History Podcast, Franca detailed his career trajectory from his beginnings in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to becoming one of the UFC's most exciting stars during the mid-2000s. Franca's martial arts journey began in 1994 at age 18, when he took his first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class in Brazil. He later followed Marcos Aurelio. Who is that guy? That's not Shogun. What's his nickname? Marcos Aurelio, who opened his own gym after leaving Sasio. What is the name? That sounds familiar. I'm messing up the name, but that sounds familiar. Under Aurelio's guidance, Franca earned his purple belt and brown belts before making the life-changing decision to come to the United States.
Pigeon 4 just...
Jesus, that scared me. Before making the life-changing decision to come to the United States. I used to be a big fan of his. In 2000, I went to the United States on a tourist visa to compete in the Pan American tournament. I decided to stay, Franca explained. To survive, he worked various jobs, including at car washes, construction sites, and as a painter while training jiu-jitsu sporadically. His fortunes changed after winning both his division and absolute division at an IBJJF competition in Orlando as a brown belt. That must have been a Pan American Championship or something. This performance caught the attention of Dan Lambert, who would later found American Top Team. Franca became one of the original members of what would grow into one of the world's premier MMA training facilities. Franca made his professional MMA debut against future WC champion Mike Brown in 2001, winning by a triangle choke. The victory began an impressive 7-fight win streak that led to his UFC debut in 2003. Throughout the interview, Franca was forthcoming about his struggles with drinking and the powder during his MMA career. The UFC, that's crazy, bro. You move from Brazil to America. You're working hard, training hard, only to get on this stuff. That's pretty sad, actually. The UFC when you have a guy who came from Brazil who nobody knows, and I start to fight, the spotlight starts to go to the wrong direction, and I start to drink a lot of party, he admitted. Despite his personal demons, Franca compiled an impressive record against elite competition, including wins over Nate Diaz, Diaz's only submission loss, Spencer Fisher, and Jamie Varner, all names I know. He eventually earned a UFC lightweight title shot against Sean Sherk in 2007, the Muscle Shark. Though both fighters tested positive for performance-enhancing substances. Yo, everybody was on something back then. Both fighters tested positive for performance-enhancing substances after the bout. Franca revealed that his battle continued for years, including receiving a DUI in 2010. I drove a few times to my house without knowing how I came to my home, he confessed. That's scary. Did they just skip the whole post? In 2012, so from the post in 2012, Hermes Franca was sentenced to 42 months. What is 42 months, guys? Almost 4 years. Yeah, almost 4 years. 3 years and 6 months or something like that. Yeah, 3 years and 6 months. So he was sentenced to 42 months in prison for SAing an underage female student in a jiu-jitsu academy. So, the guy on Reddit before, this could have been that could turn into him if he didn't get caught. That's crazy, bro. After initially pleading not guilty to 7 counts of SA in the first degree and 2 counts of unlawful, doesn't say. Yeah, it didn't say. Unlawful something. Unlawful something. I can't see it. Doesn't say the whatever he got caught with. Today, Franca teaches Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and focuses on rebuilding relationships. He should not be allowed to teach kids. Cut and dry, guys. He should not be allowed to be around kids. Honestly, he shouldn't be teaching Jiu-Jitsu, to be honest. So today, Franca teaches Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and focuses on rebuilding relationships. I'm teaching Jiu-Jitsu at the Global Fight. My Instagram is Hermes Franca BJJ. You guys can check it out. Living like a good life and seeing what God has for me in the future. Oh, he was also deported too? ICE deports Oregon mixed martial arts fighter to Brazil. How did he get back to America? Or is he in Brazil? A former UFC fighter, fighting championship lightweight contender, convicted in Oregon of attempted child SA charges, was deported Tuesday to Brazil by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And that was 2014. Reflecting on his journey, maybe he's in Brazil. He said the charges didn't matter in Brazil. Brazil's different, man. Culturally, socially, they different. Convicted SAer Hermes Franca on the podium of the Sol Americano 2021. I'm trying to understand why he is allowed to compete. Any thoughts? They're supposed to do a background check in IBJJF, but I guess not. So he's back in Brazil, isn't he? I don't know. That looks like America. This article's all over the place. So he was after serving his sentence, so he had to serve the 3 years and 6 months sentence. He was deported and returned to teaching jiu-jitsu. It's startling to see Franca's academy run kids classes as well. Oh, they got an update on Ben Askren. Wait a second. Whoa. Wait a second. Whoa. We'll look for the Ben Askren thing next. Okay. Let me focus on Hermes Franco right now. Where did the post go? Oh, here it is. Says, how in the world does a man who got convicted of SA on a 12-year-old, was it 12 or 14? Regardless, it doesn't matter. In his old BJJ gym, still practice the sport and own a gym. Who in the world would stand happily in promotion pictures next to this dirtbag? So I think he's in Brazil. Said Brazil is weird with how they handle and recognize SA. The IBJF mandates that black belts who wish to certify so they may become recognized instructors and affiliation heads must surrender to background check. That mandate is only for non-Brazilian applicants. They don't have to do background checks in Brazil? What the heck, bro? Does the IBJF still recognize this guy or any other people with SA records? I only see one guy with the names Hermes with a certified IBJF black belt, and it's not this guy. I have so far seen so many cases of people with assault and SA charges being allowed to train. Just tells you that a lot of gyms and people are not good. The people who allow this stuff, the people who endorse it are bad, and we really need to start calling out the stuff before it starts revealing its bad nature. Since part of this is Brazil doing Brazil things, there's a reason it's a destination for high-profile criminals to escape justice from Europe. Ultimately, what do you want to happen to fighters and BJJers with criminal convictions, SA convictions, violence convictions? I want them not to teach. They can go find some other work, Yeah, well, they committed a crime. They can't teach no more. They can't train in these schools with kids and ladies and other vulnerable populations. They got to go find a different path in life then. Hermes is a bad person. I wouldn't go to his gym or let kids near him. He's way over the line to be considered ever reformed to me. So yeah, not the best news. Let's see what's going on with Ben Askren. I've been trying to keep you guys up to date. So it looks like Cormier had an update for us. Daniel Cormier provides major Ben Askren update amid ex-UFC stars' sad health battle. We've been talking about Ben Askren a little bit. You guys know, if you've been watching this week, we've been talking about him a lot. Let's see. Ben Askren is currently battling a severe case of pneumonia brought on by staph infection. Is this one of the videos? I don't know what that is. The MMA community has been waiting with bated breath for an update on the former Bellator and one world champion, which has now been delivered by his friend and podcast co-host, Daniel Cormier. Cormier, some more news. Let's see. It says on Wednesday, Cormier shared some positive information about Askren's current situation. The former dual-weight UFC champion suggested his pal still had a long recovery road ahead of him as he implored fans to continue to support the Askren family during this tough time. Ben Askren, our good friend from Funky and the Champ, is having a hard time, Cormier began. That night that we did the last episode of Funky and the Champ, Ben was complaining about some issues. He had some infections. So he should have got that checked out. He had a really tough time when he went to the convention in Vegas. He was stuck there for a while. Why wasn't Ben taking care of his health? He's got money, He's got enough money to get checked out, and I'm sure he's had an infection before, staph infection. He should have got that thing. Should have addressed it early. Cormier went on to ask Askren. He went on to say Askren is back home with his family, but didn't clarify if that meant the retired welterweight had been transferred to another hospital in his home city or if he had been discharged altogether. I want to report to you guys that he's now back home in Wisconsin. He's with his family, his beautiful wife, Amy, Cormier said. Everybody is just kind of praying that Ben gets better and we can start moving forward with life for Ben. It's so sad. I don't know how things like this happen to someone who is so good because Askren is a good guy. Well, it's an infection. Infections don't care if you're good or bad. Pray for Amy, guys. Pray for the kids. Ben, we love you, buddy. I mean, bro, infections don't care if you're good or bad. They just want to make you sick, take you out. We are constantly thinking about him every single day. I cannot wait for the next Funky and the Champ because we'll talk about that so much more. Amid fan confusion, Cormier later clarified that Askren remained in hospital at this time. He's back in Wisconsin in a hospital. He isn't home. Please keep praying for Ben. I should have been more clear. So he is, I don't know if that means he's better or worse or anything. So this is from June 12th. What was June 12th, guys? I'll tell you, today's June 12th. Former UFC star Askren, so Ben Askren's wife issues worrying 3-word health update about ex-UFC star. Says ex-UFC star Ben Askren's wife has shared a concerning update on the fighter's health, revealing he continues to fight for his life after being discharged from the hospital. Askren's sudden illness last weekend led to a dash to the hospital, sparking grave concerns. Well, if he knew he had the infection, he's over there going to conventions. He's on the podcast. Why wasn't he getting treated? He might have been resistant though. That's possible. He might have had MRSA though, so that might have been different. Askren's sudden illness last weekend led to a dash to the hospital, sparking grave concerns for the former 2 promotion champion. What did his wife say? I'm trying to see. During Askren's hospitalization, his wife of 15 years reached out to fans via social media. I'm trying to see what she said though. Dun, 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 dun. I don't see anything. Yeah, I didn't see her words. Oh, it's hard to find whatever I'm looking for. Oh. So I guess she said definitely still fighting. Health battle, family says. That's not good. So just so you guys know, it was staph that turned into pneumonia or led to pneumonia. Said Askren's loved ones confirmed the 40-year-old is definitely still fighting for his life. They added, he is alive and any rumors he has died is completely false. Amy, Askren's wife, revealed back on June 7th, last week, that Ben had been hospitalized after he had developed severe pneumonia. She indicated the situation was dire, writing on her Facebook page, Ben was unable to respond to anything at this time. She's asking for prayers. So bad news for Ben. Guys, if you get an infection, get it checked out. Take care of that MRSA, that staph. We got another post that says the Tackets aren't competing. Instead of me reading this, we're just going to listen to the video. And I think that might be it for today. I'm pretty tired, guys. That's not the video I was looking for. Hopefully the Tackets don't hit me with no copyright.
Hey everybody, it's William Tackett and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing CJI 2 and Andrew and I, where we're kind of standing with this whole situation, and a little bit about the UFC BJJ as well. So rewind back to CJI 1. Now, CJI 1 was really big decision for Andrew and I. It was probably the biggest decision that we've ever made in our careers, up until that point at least, because we had won the ADCC West Coast Trials together. We had both won it on the same day. No set of brothers had ever won it, and no set of brothers had ever won it on the same day too. So we had broke 2 records. We had won it in a pretty spectacular fashion. We had really great finals performances. I had beat J-Rod and he had beat Oliver Taza. So we were really excited to go out there and try to replicate that same performance at ADCC, especially since I've competed for ADCC once before and I didn't get to show out the way I wanted to. I ended up getting submitted first round. So going back and wanting to win ADCC after a great performance and feeling confident, like I was really excited to get out there and do that. And we had watched ADCC since we were kids. All of our idols and these legends of the sport had been competing for ADCC for years. So to kind of throw us in that category where we're competing amongst these legends and maybe even getting the same titles as them, that's just like a really big kind of like personal milestone for us and a really nice like a feather in the cap, if you know what I mean. So for us to kind of like just not do that, it was a big risk because by pulling out of ADCC, you know, we didn't really have that much time heads up. We had won the trials and, you know, a few months later, ADCC's there. So we didn't find out about CJI till I think like, you know, 2 months before the ADCC. So we pulled out like pretty short notice, even though we were the first person to pull out of the event. Andrew and I were the first people to pull out of ADCC going into CJI. And we had a lot to risk because we actually kind of burnt the bridge with ADCC. Like, if we want to go back and compete for ADCC, we probably have to win the trials again. And I've won the trials twice, and I've medaled 5 times. So, like, you think I would probably get an invite back, but, like, given the circumstances, I totally understand I'll probably have to go win the trials again if I ever want to compete for the ADCC again. So, we took a lot of risk there. And we took a lot of risk for good reason, I think. CJI was really trying to prove that ADCC was not paying their athletes enough. ADCC only pays their athletes $10,000 if they win. They cover a little bit of your travel, but not entirely. Like, you still have to pay for your food and like all your like accommodations while you're around, like your Ubers and stuff like that. They just cover flight and hotel. So you still have to pay out of pocket and you don't get any money to show up. So CJI was proving that they could do that, and it's profitable still to be able to pay athletes. And they basically proved that by paying everyone over $10,000 to show up. They paid them $10,001 to show up and compete, and they put $1 million on the line for both brackets. So for Andrew and I, we were like, okay, we can make the prize money for ADCC. We can also get, you know, maybe on this new wave of CJI where we can get some publicity, and we get a shot at winning $1 million each because we could hop in separate divisions. So for us, it was a little bit of a no-brainer, but it didn't go without risk, to say the least. And moving forward, we are now in a new year where we've gotten hit up by the UFC. Actually, shortly after the CJI, towards the end of the year, we got approached by a few different organizations trying to sign Andrew and I for contracts. And the UFC was one of them. And Andrew and I have been watching the UFC since we were kids. We've been huge fans of mixed martial arts since we were young. It's actually what got us into the sport of jiu-jitsu, was watching Anderson Silva and George St. Pierre and all these guys back in the day, along with some Bruce Lee movies. So the UFC has a really special place in our hearts, and we were really excited to receive a contract from them. So we received an offer, and we put a lot of thought into it. We talked with all different organizations. We tried to make the best decision we could, and I didn't even accept the contract and actually sign the contract.
There's a little bit of interference there, but that wasn't me. That's his microphone.
Till months afterwards. I think I received my first offer in November or December, and I didn't sign till like March. So like it took me a while to like just try to figure out what the best decision was, talk to a lot of my friends, my family, my coaches, and other organizations to figure out what was the best decision for me. And now what it really boiled down to is UFC is really trying to change the sport, guys. So if we look at like other MMA organizations like Bellator or One Championship or some of the other organizations that actually have gone under as of recent, the problem with these organizations is they are cool and they're neat and all, but like the UFC is so much cooler and so much more prestigious. Like we see guys time and time again transition from Bellator into the UFC, and they just don't perform that well. Michael Chandler is really the only guy that has had like.
So shout out to the Tackett Bros. You know, I ain't coming after them. They're young. You know, I think Williams, the oldest brother, he might be 23, 24. Again, they're enamored by the UFC. So, and you know, that's what they want to do. They always dreamed about being in the UFC. Go for it. We read earlier, Craig Jones said, you know, most people they're not going to become Conor. You know, if you make a couple $1 million and, you know, a little bit of CTE, that's the best you could hope for in the UFC. I think a lot of those guys end up broken. They end up, you know, making some terrible decisions. We saw Hermes Franca. How much of that was CTE and brain damage and abuse of different medications? So these guys are young, you know, they could go into MMA. You know, I could see both Tackett's actually. I could see Fion going into MMA. She actually fought before. Like before she got into jiu-jitsu, she was more into like MMA after judo. So you know, they care about, they love the UFC. They like being a part of the organization. They can hang out with all these people. So they might do it well. You know, they might do well in the UFC. And I don't know if they'll be able to do CJI, which we need to get to. But, you know, they really love the UFC. I'm against the UFC, but I understand it's their dream. You know, I'm sure they would love to be on Joe Rogan podcast. You know, when I was their age, I liked the UFC. I liked Joe Rogan. I liked all this stuff. But now I'm a little bit older. I can kind of look top down. I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I was never on Joe Rogan. I'm glad I never joined UFC or did MMA. But they're young, and you know they're gonna go through life. They're gonna make their decisions. And when after all is said and done, I'm gonna be reacting to their video where they're like, man, you know, screw the UFC. Should never joined them. Blah blah blah. Fion said she can still do CJI, but I don't think these guys will be able to. So we're gonna zoom through the UFC. Him gushing over UFC. We're gonna zoom through to maybe where he talks about CGI.
Bit of a downside because we don't really belong to a solid team. Like we are affiliated. You can't really put a price on that other than $1 million, right? So to compete in CGI too, because we really want to support the event. We appreciate what they've done for us, and we just really want to be a part of it. And the chance to win $1 million is just like you can't really put a price on that other than $1 million, right? So for us, we really tried to put that at the forefront early on. And after we had been discussing with the UFC for a while, I saw some posts on Instagram talking with Craig Jones saying how he was going to do a team event. And for Andrew and I, this was a little bit of a downside because we don't really belong to a solid team. Like we are affiliated with Checkmat because my coach is a Checkmat black belt, but like we don't ever really train with the Checkmat guys. We don't really like associate with them too much. Like we're kind of like a small gym in Texas that's pretty far away from Checkmat, and we don't get too much cross training in. So I don't really consider us Checkmat. Like I kind of consider us our own thing. I've always just said that I was from Team Fight Factory. I've never really like claimed to be under Checkmat just because like I feel like most of my success is come from being at Fight Factory, not because I was like part of Team Checkmat, if you know what I mean. No disrespect to Team Checkmat. I'm appreciative for everything that they've done for me over the years too. They've definitely handed out some favors and such, but I've always definitely considered me more like Fight Factory, you know, and us kind of a thing on our own. And to go even more into that, it's mostly just Andrew and I. Like for a while, it was like Andrew, Cody, and I, but like Andrew and I pretty much just coach each other, or each other's like really only training partners. So it's really just Andrew and I. Like we have some high-level guys at our gym that like podium at Worlds, and we even have a guy that has won Nogi Worlds. Like we have some guys that are good, but they're all colored ranks. Like we don't have like super high-level black belts at our team. So we couldn't organize a team for CJI. And if we did, it wouldn't be comparable to teams like B Team or New Wave. Like, let's look at Team New Wave. We got Big Dan and Luke Griffith, Giancarlo Bodoni, probably Oliver Taza for 77, and then Dorian Oliveira's for 66. And if it's not Dorian Oliveira...
Yeah, I see where he's coming at, but I feel like, you know, there's a lot of people, really good people that didn't make CJI. You might have to go some alternative. But listen, he's saying all these guys, Checkmat has people like that. Checkmat, if you partner with Checkmat, your team, your association basically, you could have access to guys like Jansen Gomez, guys like, you know, maybe guys that aren't as well versed, Nogi. But you know, they could have been a team Checkmat. That's all I'm trying to say. Jansen Gomez, Rosinski, throw Rosinski in there. Pull Rosinski out of retirement. Pull Buchecha out of retirement. Bro, you good, bro. Get a small dude. Who's that Checkmat that's small? I don't know. There's somebody small there. Man, there's some Mateus Gabriel who just won Worlds, right? Man, there's no shortage of people. They could have had a checkmate team. Did the Tackett Bros give up early just so they could join UFC? I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. But, man, I guess you wouldn't have Mateus Gabriel, Andrew, William. Maybe you don't need Jansen. Take Jansen out of there. You can put Roszinski in there. Buchecha. There you go. You good.
And Gary Tonin. Like, those are just, like, insane names. Like, any one of those guys would be tough matches for either Andrew and I. So, like, to have, like, a team where it's a bunch of colored ranks and then Andrew and I, we just really wouldn't have a chance. And, we would make the 10K to show, but, like, we wouldn't have a chance at winning the big cash prize. And, that was kind of a big hit for us. So we were trying to initially go Team Kasai because we are kind of affiliated with Team Kasai through sponsorships, and we've done some work with them with Aiga and a lot of cross training with some of the guys from Kasai. And a lot of the members from Team Kasai don't have like big teams similar to the situation like us, like Roberto Jimenez, for example. Roberto Jimenez doesn't really belong to like a big team. He used to rep Alliance back in the day, but like nowadays he just kind of trains on his own. So he wouldn't be able to assemble a team either. So it made sense for us to be like, okay, well, we can do Team Kasai, and it could be like Andrew, me, Roberto, and then a few other of our members. But they kind of shut that down because they said that we would have to be like a legit team training together regularly, and there's no super teams allowed. So I totally get that. We understand that. But that kind of, again, was another hit for us because we're like, oh, man, well, we don't have like an actual team. And then, we had this idea, but they shut that down because it didn't follow the criteria. So, like, what are we going to do? So we put a lot of thought into it. And we have some opportunity this year with the UFC to complete a bunch of matches for them. And we do make good money to show. They treat us really well, and they're trying to build us.
How much money they give you, bro?
For the
How much money they giving you?
The thing that the UFC does is they take athletes and they build them up to really, really famous and
that ain't true. Wait.
Successful individuals.
Wait. UFC ain't building you up. UFC ain't building you up. Does UFC build people up? Let's put a little poll in there. I mean, they'll hype your fight, but they ain't gonna build you up. You got to build yourself up. Look at all the fighters. Basically, they do their own thing, as far as I know. I don't think the UFC ain't gonna build you up, bro. Tackets, if you think the UFC gonna build you up, bro, you guys should have gone to CGI. The UFC ain't gonna build you up, bro. Can't control you if they build you up, or if they build you up, they can tear you down. So. I mean, do you want the UFC to build you up? At what cost? You got to ask yourself that.
They've done this time and time again. They take guys like, look at Bo Nickel, right? Like, even though he didn't win his last match, they've made him to a star. Like,
Wait, whoa. Bo, well, he ain't a star. First off, he ain't a star. Second off, he was a wrestling star. Bo built himself up. By being really good at wrestling and saying some controversial stuff, calling people out. Now, what happened to Bo? He was kind of supported. He was kind of lifted up by the UFC, but as soon as he loses, the UFC ready to drop you quickly. UFC don't care about you guys.
Took him from like the regional scene, threw him in the Contender Series, built him up throughout the UFC, and now he's like a big name, and he is very good. Like, you can't discount that Bo Nickel's very good at MMA, but he's also like a great star. Like, there's some really good MMA fighters out there that don't have the star power that Bo Nickel has because they didn't have the machine of the UFC behind them. So for us to have like the machine of the UFC behind us, building us, giving us consistent matches. So like if we're, let's say in our contract, we have X many matches in a year, well, we're guaranteed those matches per year. We're guaranteed the pay of those matches per year. It's just consistent for us. It's consistent. They're behind us. They're trying to build us. So for us, we were kind of like, okay, well, we don't really have a strong team to compete for CJI. We tried to assemble something. It didn't really work out. All right, well, we can try to assemble maybe like Team Misfits. But like for me, I'm not going to really want to compete in something unless I know I have a chance of winning. Like I mentioned Team New Wave to you guys, right? You saw how stacked that team was. Well, Team B team is just as stacked. And then they also got Team Atos, who has Felipe Pena on it, along with all the Atos members. Like, those teams are ridiculously stacked. Like, we would need like some massive firepower to pull together a solid team. And some of the team options we had just weren't, in my opinion, the best chance of us winning. And I just, like, for me to show up and make X amount of dollars just to show up and compete and probably lose and take maybe a loss, because let's say, like, you know, it's quintet style. I draw Kynyan Duarte first round, right? This guy's gigantic. He's the best right now.
That's true. You got me there.
Everything.
You got me there.
Like, for me to beat
You might
him,
be. You
very,
might be
very
Kynan, though.
If I somehow got through him, all right, well, now I got to go through another guy. Probably going to get subbed next round because I'm exhausted, right? So, like, for me to go out there and only get paid like X amount of dollars to show just to lose just wasn't really worth it. Andrew and I just didn't really think that it was, like, in the cards for us when we can compete for one match, prepare for like one opponent in our weight class. We're not having to deal with quintet where we're fighting absolute. We can fight within our weight class within the UFC, X amount of matches per year with X amount of dollars per match. And it's just consistent for us. And we trust the UFC. The UFC has built the sport of MMA from nothing to something. They've built the sport of power slap, even though, like, not a lot of people consider it.
UFC, the first UFC was a success. If anything, the first UFCs were good, and then, you know, on the down end, Dana White and the Lorenzo Bros came through, but they didn't build it from scratch. They had a name, they had a brand. Now, did they put in work? Yeah, they did. They put a lot of work in. The Tackets love UFC. I won't ever beat that. They're gonna love the UFC till they're in the honeymoon phase. Can we get to like 1 or 2 years later? Let's go back to these guys, see how they do in 2 years from now. If they still talking about UFC,
kind of consider it silly. They built it from nothing to something. They're doing it with a lot of sports, and they have a track record, a positive track record. So, like, for me, if they're wanting to do that with jiu-jitsu, they don't need jiu-jitsu. They don't need, like, Gordon Ryan. They don't need me. They don't need Andrew. They can build their own stars. They don't even need the sport of jiu-jitsu, but they're wanting to do that, and they want to build us. So, like, I'm not going to pass up on that opportunity. For Andrew and I, it just didn't really make sense for us to not compete for the UFC and go compete for, like, maybe CJI 2 with a team that was maybe a losing team, and, you know, maybe risk damaging a little bit of our relationship with the UFC. I'm sure you guys have seen a little bit of the bickering between Craig Jones and the UFC online. And associating with somebody that's, like, maybe slandering the UFC a little bit probably isn't the greatest look for one of their employees, right? So, like, if we're going to be working for them and working with them, then, like, I want
to. You're not an employee, Taggett. You are a independent contractor. So independent contractors are not employees, right? Is that true, guys? As far as I know, an independent contractor is... What's the definition of an independent contractor? Let's look that up real fast. We're going to use AI. Thank you, AI. An independent contractor is a self-employed individual or entity. So you guys are independent contractors. So remember, when you're hyping up the UFC, remember, they don't care about you. You don't actually work for the UFC. You're self-employed. They operate their own business and are not employees of the client. UFC is not going to build you up. Now, they might promote your fight, but they're not going to build you up to that fight. Contract-based. They typically work under a written agreement outlining the terms of the service. What's in that contract, Tackett? Did they tell you have to support UFC like that? Control over work. Generally, they have control over how, when, and where they perform their services, while the client focuses on the desired result. Tax responsibility. They are responsible for paying their own self-employment taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. No benefits. That's a big one. They do not receive the same benefits as employees, such as health insurance or paid time off. So they might have some clause in there if they get injured during the during UFC. They might have insurance for like a couple days, a week or so after the event, in case there's, they need surgery or something. And I guess the upside is that you can work for multiple clients. So again, I mean, the Tackets are young. I don't think they understand the contracts really. I don't think most jiu-jitsu people understand contracts. I don't understand contracts, but I'm smart enough to be like, hey, let me get someone that understands this to read it through. We got the AI now. We got the Chat GPT can break it down for you too now, guys. So hopefully they did that before they signed this contract. I don't know what's in that contract. I don't know what they're getting paid. I don't know how long the contract is, but maybe somebody will leak it.
Make sure I don't step on no one's toes, especially this first year of us working together. So this is just like me kind of ranting about a lot of different reasons on why we can't do it, but we've decided not to do it for these reasons, because we want to give ourselves the best opportunity to win, and getting on a team that's not necessarily that successful is going to be difficult for us to go out there and perform to the way that we want to. And we want to be able to compete and build our relationship with the UFC this year. So maybe next year when the next CJI comes around, they mentioned that they're going to be going back to like singular divisions where it's going to be like one champ. That would be cool. If they do that next year, then yeah, we'll totally hop in. Why not, right? Why not hop in for the chance to win $1 million, just like we did last year? But this year, even I didn't even touch on it, but like it's not even $1 million to win it. This year, it's $1 million for the team to win it. So you're probably gonna have to pay each team member. You might have to pay the coach of the team, and so it's not the same this year for us. So that's the main reason why we're not going to be competing for CGI this year. I still wish CGI the best. I'm probably going to be in the crowd cheering everybody on because I think it's going to be a really exciting event. The first event was amazing. I got to compete first round against Joao Rocha and become a spectator for the rest of the event. And I thought from like a spectator standpoint, it was sick. So definitely purchase your tickets if you want to watch the CGI event. I got a notification on my phone that they're at like 70% capacity. So you definitely want to go and get your tickets if you are planning to go see it so you don't get sold out.
My man selling really CGI, he's selling UFC.
If you haven't thought about it, I would definitely think about going and watching it. It's a really cool event.
He's selling whatever you need to sell. Shout out to the Tackets. I don't mind the Tackets, man. They okay. We kind of heard this. Someone said super disappointing, especially at the prospect of a rematch between Cade and Andrew. Both of them could be on Team USA under Souders. Oh no, yeah, go to UFC. If both Vertulos are on Atos, it's not really a super team. And I know Tackett said he isn't signed exclusively yet, but he also stated part of the reason he's not competing at CGI 2 is not to step on anyone's toes. The statement right here perfectly displays the effects the UFC is going to have on athletes. BJJ athletes are underpaid and unfortunately tend to kiss the boot the second they get a paycheck. Yep, $10,000, kiss that boot. Kind of sad seeing as they were the first big non-B team names to switch. Also kind of tracks though. They follow the money. I'm not sure what's in that contract. He seems very content with the UFC relationship. Good for him. By that logic, CJI shouldn't have been held the same time ADCC was, but instead it was intentionally held the same weekend. We want athletes to have options and get paid, but the only acceptable choice is CJI, even if the odds are stacked heavily against them. Flow was the epitome of evil last year, but this year it makes sense that Craig would tap into their content machine. We support women's grappling and want to see the top people face each other, but the event they put the two top women as headliner is bad for women's grappling. Wait a second. I don't know what that means. It's super bad that Gordon and Mo are friends in a total conflict of interest, but Craig having his own team in his event and getting Victor Hugo, the guy who beat their star hitter, into the team is fine. Yeah, I got some shenanigans going on. Why can't Fight Pass make this happen? CJI had Fion fight Mackenzie Dern. Craig Jones fought Gabby, and the tournaments were padded out with wrestlers and retired MMA fighters. Meanwhile, Fight Pass is just Adele versus Fion, and the show before that was Nikki Rod versus Victor Hugo. They are doing big matches. That's true. Kissing the boot isn't necessarily a good term. These dudes do this for a living so they can eat. I don't blame them for not competing. They must do what's best for their career. Craig should have let them have a team. CJI might not be the same without them. That's true. Maybe Craig should have made some allowances for these guys. Let them build a better team or something. I don't know. It's too much going on. I can't keep up too much. I think it's more what you said with Craig being antagonistic towards their employer. He said he feels it would be safer for them to not do CGI, especially in the first year of their time with UFC. UFC offering an ongoing paycheck and support for people like access to the UFC performance, performance, whatever the place is called, and fights and accommodation for athletes and coaches, plus a minimum $15K payout and chance of multiple events per year. Are they getting $15K payout? I don't know. Versus CGI giving them $10K, making them pay for their own flights and accommodations for themselves, and coach once per year with a chance to win a prize. You might have a point there. What's the payout? Do they get the payout, or if they win, they get the $15K and they get multiple events per year? Most people are going to be sold on the UFC. All it takes is them to say 4 fights per year on the minimum at 15 and 15. So was that 120? Well, you would have got that with CJI. You want to work once a year, or you want to work 4 times in the year? You're guaranteed 60K with the potential for 120K, and people will jump at it. That's true. Most jiu-jitsu people, if they're getting 60K for the year, they're good. You know, they can live. So I mean, that is something. You know, 60K guaranteed is pretty good. You know. Now, are you gonna make it through the 4 fights in the year? I don't know. Your body might not make it through that. If CJI wants to compete, he needs to stop antagonizing everyone in the world for not doing whatever he wants them to. I don't know if that guy's figures were right. He just said that. It's long been established that the UFC keeps fighters tied to their deals by offering them fights. They know the fighters won't accept, and Jack and had the crowd fund flying his team out for his title fight. It says Jack Della Maddalena had to crowdfund flying his team out for his title fight literally a month ago, but you know that because you look at all the facts objectively or whatever. Also, I don't know what that means. Agreed, especially with the reveal from Fion and Attack is that their contracts aren't even exclusive yet. They said yet. Most internet people won't believe the information given from the horse's mouth over whatever Craig Jones says. It's like Fion Davies and Andrew Tackett say, yeah, our contracts aren't exclusive. Craig Jones says Fion's contract is exclusive. Nobody should sign exclusive contracts. We haven't seen those contracts. I'm not trusting Fion or the Tacketts. I don't trust their reading ability, their comprehension skills. Let me see that contract. Several Craig's guys have competed on Fight Pass Invitational events since announcing CJI 2. Nicky Rod fought Victor Hugo in March, and Damian Anderson fought December of last year. Yeah, that was Fight Pass Invitational. They have a new organization, UFC BJJ, which isn't Fight Pass. Everything has changed now. So I don't know what's going on. It's a mess. UFC BJJ will be structured like the UFC and that amazing power slap. I watched the video and thought the Tackett's rationale for skipping CJI 2 was sound. I obviously don't know the details of their contracts with the UFC, but I can understand why jeopardizing that for having to potentially fight guys like Felipe Andrew, Kynan, and Nicky Rodriguez, Victor Hugo, etc. for a low shot at winning $200K wouldn't be worth it. In an individual weight class restricted bracket like CJI, the Tackett's would have a good chance. CJI 1, they had a good chance as almost anyone of winning the $1 million. Is a lot different than $200,000. The team quintet format might be exciting to watch, but I can definitely understand the reluctance of the best of the smaller guys from joining, especially if they aren't part of one of the big teams. Andrew already has a victory over Big Dan. Both guys are probably at the stage in their career where they care more about winning meaningful things and making money rather than publicity. William basically said they aren't doing CGI because they don't have a good chance to win, with the format being what it is, and the prize isn't worth it, given their perceived chances. There isn't really much publicity from it, to be honest. Lucas Kennard got the ultimate upset at CJI 1 by subbing Victor Hugo, and I'm sure his social following jumped up that weekend, but it's still significantly lower than both the Tackets already. But by doing UFC BJJ, the Tackets are both very clearly already receiving significant push on the social media by the biggest brand in combat sports, and they haven't even competed yet. They already did. It's already been filmed. I don't like the exclusive contracts, and I wish we got to see the Tackets at CGI 2 as well, but if we're talking about publicity, it doesn't get much better than UFC. Again, UFC don't care about you. I think the Tackets are past the phase where they want to compete for publicity. They want paychecks. As to AOJ, Gi answered this in an Instagram Q&A the other day. They wanted to focus on the Gi season and felt splitting the team focus was not a good idea. Important to remember, Gi and AOJ are very calculated about where. Well, the Gi season's over. They wanted to. They go into Japan. They got that vacation in Japan every year. They're very calculated about where and when they compete for the most part, especially for their top talent. Says he is just scared of the risk of losing. They have Pato, Cole, Tynan, CJI runner-up, and Gutenberg, and they can even substitute Gutenberg for a wild card if they feel he's not that strong. Says yeah, Guy makes calculated choices on comps. That's exactly what I said. Maybe also realize not everyone only cares about Nogi. Well, he should care about his guys making money though. I'm not sure why Guy Mendez didn't want them to do a no-gi. Let's see what Craig Jones got to say, and I think that's it for today, guys. I'm done after Craig Jones. He says, I love the Tackets and still do. They chose steady income, which is fine. I offered them a team checkmat. Oh, they should have done team checkmat. The Tackets, man, Tackets screwed up, bro. I take back everything I said about the Tackets today. They screwed up. I offered them a team checkmat or to build their own American Misfits team. They could have done that. To be honest, I wanted a team with Pato, Andrew, William, Roberto, and whoever else they wanted for 99 plus. As a fan and a promoter, I'm sad we didn't get this. Oh, that's sad. Man, the Tackets sold out. The Tackets, they could have made history. They ain't making history in the UFC. They ain't making no history. How are they making history in the UFC? We don't care about those matchups. We want to see the CGI matches with them and all these killers. He says, I'm sad we don't get to see this. We don't have like-minded interest here. I'm trying to build a Super Bowl event in which people could participate from all organizations. That is not what we have the ability to do here. My strategy has changed to be anti-monopolistic. Tackets, they screwed up already. They could have had a good team. The Tackets just wanted to be a part of the UFC. Again, they're kids. I think they should have stuck with CJI. They should have stuck with CJI. I would have stuck with Craig Jones over Dana White any day. I would have stuck with Craig Jones over Dana White. Craig Jones is a better person than Dana White, for sure. Dana White? That's pretty bad. I'm going to upvote this one. Says, I too could have sold CJI streaming rights, but I thought this would be detrimental to the overall growth of the sport. This decision comes at the expense of my own bank account, not its growth. I fully recognize I'm in a blessed financial position to do this, so no shame in people choosing steady income. I do, however, object to signing these deals as good for the sport. It's good for your bank account. So, I mean, if that's true, I think the Tackets might have. They made a decision for themselves. Again, I think it's short-sighted. They wanted to be in the UFC. They want to grow their own brand. I think they could have had a cool team. And, they did CGI 1. People want to see them at CGI 2. UFC BJJ is untested. UFC MMA is good. If they were doing UFC for MMA, great. But the UFC's track record with slap fight, maybe even the Contender Series, I don't even know about that. It's not very good. And you know what the difference between UFC and UFC BJJ, Fight Pass, and Slap Fight is? Does anybody know the difference? It's pretty quiet in the chat today. Chat, what's going on, chat? You guys Just listening. Well, I'll give you the answer. The UFC, the difference is that the UFC didn't make the UFC. Other people made the UFC. It was successful. Dana White and the what were those guys' names? I can't remember. The mob guys. They came in and took what was already successful and built it up. So as far as I know, the UFC, Dana White and the Lorenzo brothers, that's their name. They were good at taking something that was already working and functioning, and they were able to take it to the next level. But Power Slap, yeah. UFC Fight Pass, yeah. UFC BJJ, possibly going to be, yeah. Well, look who they put in charge of UFC BJJ. Is it going to succeed? Probably not. I don't think it's going to succeed just by who's in charge. So I think the Tackett's really blundered here. I would have chosen Craig Jones over Claudia or Dana White. It says credit where credit is due. The Tackett boys have always been upfront about wanting to get paid and help their parents out while being super respectful about it with promoters. Have no doubt in my mind that they're sincere when they always look for them after a match to share the glory or agony with. Tackett says his deal allows him to do CGI too. What makes the deal bad for the sport in this case? Well, they're just supporting the monopoly of the UFC. Well, the UFC's cool now, but next week they're going to be like, all right, you can't do CGI. When they see the numbers from CGI, they're going to tell them they can't do it. Says one of the reasons they aren't is because they train out of Fight Factory out of Checkmat. He said he wouldn't want to be on Checkmat team because he hardly trains with them. Yeah, why can't he train with them? Why can't he go train with them? They need to expand their horizon. Go train with Rosinski. That's kind of limiting. Yeah, that's very limiting to me because they could have been training with Rosinski, Gomez, Buchecha. They should be training with the Checkmat guys. That's on them for not going out there. So far I have not seen a contract, so it's been a lot of hearsay. We don't know what the contract says. Fion and the Tackers are saying they can do both. They can do it, but maybe they're just saying that to say that. Craig Jones is saying that it's more exclusive. So I don't know exactly what the contracts are saying. If you guys can send me the contract, I'll look at it. I'll use my AI to look at it for me and break it down. But as far as I know, I think the Tackett should have. Says the Tackett's very clearly made a business decision, which is fine. But William posted an 18-minute video where he never owns that. It's this he shouldn't have done the video. Or just, all right, guys, I'm going to the UFC BJJ. I want to do it. Okay. Video ended. It's the same thing with Fion. If you're going to secure financial security for yourself at the expense of growing the sport, fine. I mean, I will say Craig Jones seems to care about the sport. As for after him, I don't think anybody else cares. They're all in it for themselves. Which it's not bad. It's not bad to be for yourself, but I don't know. You kind of want to be on the right side of history, and I don't think the UFC is ever going to be on the right side of history. It says this is why athletes in combat sports will never make as much money as their ball-playing counterparts. You have to collectively bargain from the very beginning. So I think if they had stuck with CJI, Craig Jones had a proven track record. That's the only thing I can say to the Tackets. Craig Jones Invitational had a proven track record. They do numbers, put $2 million up, even more money. They had a proven track record, so I probably would have stuck with Craig Jones Invitational. UFC, look at their track record. It's crap. They're getting sued left and right. If we pull that up real fast. As far as I know, Craig Jones not getting sued, but UFC definitely getting sued. They got lawsuits. Let's read some of the lawsuits, guys, and that's it. I gotta dip. I'm super hungry right now. What time is it? 12:43. The Ultimate Fighting Championship faced numerous lawsuits, primarily stemming from antitrust allegations. All right, case closed. Regarding the treatment of MMA fighters, did the Tackets know about this? A major settlement finalized in February 2025 addressed one of these lawsuits, according to payments.com, I think, PYMNTS, I think that's payments, and Insider Sports. The settlement involved a payout of $375 million. Daddy Dana, can we get some of that money? Primarily addressing the Lee versus Zuffa case, which was a decade-long class action lawsuit alleging wage suppression and monopoly practices. Craig Jones was right. A separate lawsuit, Johnson versus Zuffa, which was filed in 2021 and continues, also alleges similar practices. So let's look at these lawsuits real fast. You got Lee versus Zuffa. This class action lawsuit led by Kung Lee. Shout out to Kung Lee, one of my favorite fighters, who competed between 2010 and 2017, alleged that the UFC used its dominant position to suppress fighter wages and impose restrictive contracts. So, Tackets, this is who you're dealing with. So the settlement was finalized in February 2025, involving a $375 million payout to class members. This is what Craig Jones was saying. Another reason to work with Craig Jones, I'm not paid by Craig Jones, guys. I'm not paid by any of these guys, except for Inverted Gear and BJJ Mental Model. Check them out. The reason to work with Craig Jones is because he is a competitor, and he just like the athletes that are competing. He's advocating for them to get more money. So I would have stayed with Craig Jones because he's trying to actively get more money in the sport, and he's a better human being than Dana White is. So I think the Tackets made a short-sighted decision. Fion made a short-sighted decision. You gotta look at the big picture, guys. Look at the big picture. Short term, you get more money. Maybe you got that more agreed upon money. That more like you might get more money in the UFC. You might have more matches. That's great, awesome. But you look at the UFC as a business. Look at their future. They're being sued multiple times. That Lee versus Zuffa case was contained about 1,000 fighters, 1,200 fighters. What's 1,200? What's 375 million divided by 1,200? I don't know, but it's a nice little payout. Does my calculator go up to 375 million divided by 1,200? That's approximately $312,000. $312,500. That's not too bad. Now, is that those fighters made way more money? Them fighters made $1 billion for Zuffa in the UFC. So even though they're getting $300,000, that money, some of them fighters made that money. They should have gotten paid that money years ago in 2010. You also got Johnson versus Zuffa, which is ongoing, which was filed in 2021, and it represents fighters from 2017 to the present day. It also alleges that the UFC practices, including exclusive contracts and market control, have led to a wage suppression and exploitative contracts for fighters. How are you getting sued for the same stuff? Tackets, you guys trust UFC? I don't want to hear the Tackets complaining about the UFC later, when they should have stuck with Craig Jones. I think from my perspective, I'm not the Tackets. I'm not as good as the Tackets, at least not anymore. But I think they should have stayed with Craig Jones. They might have had more opportunities to grow, and maybe they wouldn't be guaranteed as many fights and as many matches, but they would have. I think the potential for growing in CJI will be better than UFC. UFC, they're not gonna pay you more. They're gonna keep you at whatever the little bit of money they got you at. Might be $10,000 to win, $10,000 a show. Might be $15,000 to win, $15,000 a show. But there's no guarantee that the UFC will keep the UFC BJJ. They might just scrap it. They need to scrap slap fight. They're gonna scrap slap fight. They're gonna scrap UFC BJJ. They're gonna jump on the next trend. You know, they're gonna jump on some other stuff, and then they're gonna leave you guys behind. Since other lawsuits beyond the 2 main cases, there have been other lawsuits and potential class actions filed against UFC, including one filed by Phil Davis and Misha Sirkunov. Where are those lawsuits at? All right, guys, I'm done. I'm tired. The TAC has made their decision. I think it's short-sighted. I think Craig Jones, definitely a better person than Dana White, for sure. For sure, a better person than Dana White. So, not much else we can say. I don't know what they're going to do. I think the UFC is cool now, but, you know, they don't have the best history. I wouldn't trust the UFC with... What is that? When did that go? 2 weeks ago? They just got sued 2 weeks ago? Wait a second. Says UFC is facing a pair of new lawsuits. This is from May 30th. Filed by UFC fighters Phil Davis and Misha. Says they file an antitrust lawsuit against UFC. So, do you really want to work for this company that's being sued left and right by all their fighters? I don't know, man. I as far as I know, Craig Jones hasn't been sued by anybody, and his checks have been clearing. So I would have stayed with Craig Jones. All right, guys, that's it, man. If you want to support the channel, go check out Inverted Gear. InvertedGear.com. They got a lot of gear. I think they're getting their 2025 line, so please check them out. And also, we also got BJJ Mental Models. I'm working on a new video for them. Hopefully it comes out soon. I need to do that now. I need to work on that now. So got that. Got a tournament on Saturday. And that's it, man. Final X. I'm trying to go to Final X, so let me figure out the details. I will not be able to live stream that, but maybe I can film a video or something. We'll see. I got a birthday. Shout out to Matt Daniel. Happy birthday, Matt Daniel, a.k.a. Tequila. We love you, bro. We love you, man. So take care of yourself, Mr. Matt Daniel. Mr. Blue Steel. That's Warren right there. That's his son. You guys can't even see. I'll show Matt Daniel real fast. Shout out to Matt Daniel. You guys have seen him on my other channel. We did a lot of business podcasts. If you guys would like to see some of those podcasts, let me know in the comments because they got some views. And you know, my man Matt, he my business guy. When all the jiu-jitsu instructors are messing up their business, I go to Matt Daniel. That's it, guys. I'm gonna play my video, my Inverted Gear video. Check them out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Thursday. Peace out, guys. Offer code Alex. You guys know it.